Building an Effective Sermon Series with Unifying Graphics and Music, coming up here on the Better Sundays podcast at Reachkeep.com. Welcome to the Better Sundays podcast, focused, practical, and usable advice for church leaders looking to reach new young families and impact their community. Well, howdy, folks. Good to have you here in studio. Today is workshop-related stuff. We're going to show you exactly how to build some unifying graphics and some unifying music stuff for your sermon series. If you happen to be listening to this on the podcast, we recommend that you go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe there and watch it. You can just go to the YouTube app there, whatever, and type in the word Reachkeep, and you ought to be able to find it right there in our most recent videos, or just type in sermon series and it ought to show up. So anyway, good to have you here. If you're here for the first time, my name is Mike Holmes, and I'm the founding pastor here at Sinclair Baptist Church. We have done a variety of sermon series over the years, using graphics and topics and different things to kind of really build our people. We think it's extremely effective. They can be done in an expositional verse-by-verse way. They can be done in a totally verse-with-verse and random verses throughout those scriptures to use what you're teaching on. But either way, you want to do it well. You want to do it so you're going to reach a lot of folks and really touch a lot of people. I mean, what good is a sermon if there's no one there to hear it? Okay, so we want folks to come. So we're going to talk a little bit about promotion. The next one, I'm very excited about this sermon series. It's not a sermon series. It is a series of podcasts and a series of YouTube videos on how to do a sermon series. We talked about the why to do a sermon series and a lot of important things. You can find a link and go back and watch that. Last week we talked about how to do your themes and your titles and your subtitles. And today we're getting into sort of some nuts and bolts with the graphics stuff, and you really enjoy that, I'm sure. And then next week we're going to talk about the promotion and how to do that. Get it out onto the digital means and Facebook and different ways to get that out. And then we're going to talk about something that really helps with a sermon series, and that is sort of some things that tie it into a midweek Bible study or some questions that you can have that can spur people to go on with study in the topic that you are talking about. And so your sermon really gets kind of what we call sticky. It lasts a long time. It just really stretches out there. Now, some of you preach too long as it is, myself included. I often kind of like, look at the clock, I'm in trouble. Okay, so we tend to go a little bit long, but this is not that kind of making your sermon longer. This is making it throughout the week into the hearts of your people. So make sure that you tune into that here on the Reachkeep podcast as well, and we will get you covered. First of all, we're going to start out here today with talking about some graphics and some themes. We're going to kind of cover the music thing at the end. Won't spend as much there because most of the questions we get have to do with kind of creating some unifying things. And I want to spend some time with you just kind of, again, telling you how excited I am about this and letting you know that when you do a sermon series well, it is that conscientious forethought that people go, man, I saw an ad for that there. I saw a poster here. I saw a graphic there. I got a text about it. I saw some, language. It was all the same. And people really bond to that, and they really pay attention, and it helps them to come. It helps them certainly to invite friends because it's like something is coming that's exciting. So at this point, you've kind of thought out your theme. You've got your scriptures that you're doing. You've got your date planned. You've worked on some titles of some specific sermons, and you may not have all that done. And by the way, we're talking about a series now that's not like coming next Sunday, but like coming, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ahead of time that you're doing this. You're thinking ahead. You have lots of time. You're not rushed. I know a lot of guys like, hey, I prepare on Saturday night. Well, let me just say something about this for you Saturday night guys. Been there, done that. Had to do it a few times, but you will not have as much engagement. You will not have as much interactivity. You will not have as many questions. You will not have as good as sermon notes if you do something Saturday night at midnight as if you do it Saturday, we'll say Saturday morning. You got all day Saturday to work on it. Well, let's back it up another day or two. Let's back it up another week or two. And you can see how your sermons can kind of create, some better bonding with the people. You can get some illustrations from local papers. You can do some things. You can really tie it into your community, and that makes it really, really powerful. And I want to encourage you to learn to be a person that prepares way ahead on your sermons. The question always comes, well, what if the Spirit leads you to change it? Well, change it. Hey, any one of us can preach on a spur of the moment. We've been doing this for years, okay? You probably can pull a sermon out of a hat, and God lays something on your heart. You probably could talk for an hour about it. Me too, okay? So you can always do that and just kind of cut this out. And we've had, in the middle of a sermon series, we've had, different disasters have happened in our church. We've had suicides. We've had COVID. We've had lots of different things where we had to kind of sort of, shut things down and take a different direction. You can still do that. But a well-prepared sermon is better than an unprepared sermon. And so I want to talk to you about how to do the graphic side of this. So we're going to take a fictitious sermon here, one that I just kind of came up with. We never did a series on this, but it was sort of one I just thought of. And we're going to call it, say, Lord has laid on your heart. You're burdened for your people to learn everything there is in the Bible to know about forgiveness. Now, there can be a series of texts that you could use for this. It could be, something from the Old Testament, Joseph and the brothers thing, and, some things out of Proverbs, some things out of the Psalms could work on forgiveness. There's obviously things that kind of go into the New Testament, the whole Philemon story, a lot of really cool things that are there that could be taught on that. But so you've got this idea on forgiveness. So you want to kind of come up with something, and you feel like people just aren't, they're not grabbing it, they haven't got it. So you in your mind, you've come up with the idea of like, we're going to unlock forgiveness. We're going to open up forgiveness. Forgiveness is there. It's just behind a door. It's just kind of padlocked shut. It's just kind of behind a wall, and you can't get to it, but it is there and it is available. And we know that. Okay, there's forgiveness available to everybody on this entire planet for their sins. It's there, but have they accepted it? And have they opened the door, so to speak? So maybe you're going to go with a door theme. Maybe you're going to go with an unlocking theme. I thought, here's a good one for this. Let's just use the idea of the key. And then you are going to give these keys to forgiveness. So your 6 sermons or whatever, each of them would have a key to unlocking forgiveness. So what's a logical graphic that you could use for that? Well, you can use a key or a lock or a keyhole or something along that line. So I want to go and show you just a couple places online here where you can find this. And I'm going to be down a little corner here, I'm sticking with you, don't worry about it. I'm going to go to, let me get rid of this, and I'm going to go to one of the best and easiest places to go, and this is just Google Images. Now, I have a button for Google Images I put here, but if you just type in google.images, you'll get that right there, google.com/image, I think is how it goes. And you will get to this page right here. And then you can, on Google Images, type in, let's go with the word key, okay? We're going to type in the word key, and it brings up lots of keys. And there you are. You got all sorts of keys that you can use. Now, many of these keys are just simple artwork keys or photographs. They don't necessarily have a copyright to them. You'll have to kind of figure that out if you want. Each of these has a little button on here. Sometimes it says this might be under copyright, and you can kind of follow the lead on that and find out. There are many of these are free and open to public domain. So here's a bunch of pictures of keys. All right. Now, if you notice on Google up here, it always brings a bunch of different suggestions up here. So here is one that says drawing, okay? So I'm going to click on the drawing. So now we're kind of getting drawings of keys, okay? Another secret to that is if you just take the word key there and you just type in the word line art, okay? And that means kind of drawing. And so you have key line art. Now you're getting kind of like some silhouettes, some real simple looking key pictures that you probably could use, any one of those. I doubt if those are, too many of those are tied up into copyright. So there's kind of a pretty one with lots of keys there. But if you're wanting to talk about the key, then, hey, just go with the key and find one good picture that you like. Now, if you click on a picture, so let's take this one here, click on it. It's going to bring it up over here in extra big format, and it's going to bring pictures up that are similar okay, along that line. So you can find, let me do this one. Like, so example, here's a key on a ring. And I say I wanted the key in the ring thing here. And this one clearly says do not copy, do not copy. So this is a protected, a copyright protected one here. But you'll see then that it brings up a bunch more that have like key rings on there. Like here's a skeleton key one. So if we bring that up here, you're going to probably get a few more artworks that have to do with skeleton keys. Now, that is one way to get keys. So you could, if you're kind of looking for something a little bit more, you could do key and lock. So we type in the word key, lock, put them both together. Now you're getting, there's a lot of photographs and, things, people that are selling things. So you might want to do key, lock, and then again, type in just the word art. Okay, we'll just do art. And you'll get a different set of keys in there. Come on there, computer. There you go. A little bit more artsy type of things there. So you've got some there. You can go to key vintage, like old keys. You can kind of look at old keys there. So if you're kind of looking there. So there's a lot of different places you can go. And then, of course, you can just take one of these and paste it into your thing. So if I wanted this one and I determined that this one is free, in fact, it says free art right there. There are a variety of ways to do this, but on a Mac, you hold down the Control key and you hit the copy image, and then you go to your program and you paste it in, and then there's your key right there, and you can make it bigger, smaller, and then put some text along the side of it. So we would type in unlocking forgiveness. Okay, so there's unlocking forgiveness. We're going to, make that quite a bit bigger so we can see what it says. All right, we're going to put it right next to the key. There you go. And let's, that font is kind of goofy. You kind of want to look for something, different that's kind of cool. So there's something right there. So here you are. You're unlocking forgiveness, and you've got it. You want to tighten those up just a little bit. I think we can tighten that up. So, and then we'll talk more about this later, but you put the dates in your sermon title and some of that. So let's go back to some pictures, though. If you want some regular photos that are like photographic, the best place to go to that is a site called Unsplash, okay, unsplash.com. And if we go to Unsplash, here is where it looks like at the very beginning. And this is all free, high-resolution images, and these would all be images. So we type in the word key, and we're going to get pictures, photographs more of key. There's an artwork one, but you can see something along this line. There's a really cool one right there, okay? And let's look around and see more. Got some dark stuff around it. So if you want to take the whole picture, you can type in the unlocking forgiveness. That's a good one. Let's go back to this particular one and just take this one. And here there's a little download button. And the way Unsplash works, okay, is you grab it, you hit the little button, and if you want to say thanks to the person, they bring up a little thing, and you can say, hey, thank you very much. They put their photos out there for free so that they get a little bit. So we have just downloaded it. Now I'm going to go back to my little pages thing here, and I'm going to go to my downloads, which is right over here, and it's the last image right there. And I'm going to just simply drag it down here onto this same place where we were. You can kind of see all that stuff here. Let me kind of turn the whatchamacallit off. It's trying to wrap the text around it. And then we'll move it to the back. So I've got that image. Here's the other image. Let's just stick this out of the way here for a minute. And let's go to unlocking forgiveness. And there you are. Let's go back to the text. And we're going to turn the color to white, and you got kind of a cool, you got a kind of a cool looking little thing there. It's probably a little too big. You can see it kind of overlaps the key, so let's just kind of shrink it down here. Yeah. So There you are, unlocking forgiveness. So really good thing. And then you can put another little text box in here. We'll move this down here and we'll turn the text to white so you can see it. And you would type in the name of your church, so Sinclair Baptist, March, 1st through 31st, okay? Those are not real dates, but for Sundays. But you would put your Sunday dates on there, maybe make that a little bit bigger. So now you have a graphic that you can kind of run with. There's a lot of different cool things you can do there. Let me give you another one here, okay? And let's go back to our Safari here. And we were looking at Google Images. That's the one there. Let me bring that up so you can see what that looks like when you come to Google Images all by itself. It's just like say you go to Google and type in, I think, the word images, and that's what it's going to look like right there. And you type in, and you'll get that Unsplash. It looks like this at the beginning. That is their homepage. And then here's another one, and this is called Pexels. Kind of like the word pixels, but it's the word Pexels and with an E, and it's the same kind of things, lots of pictures of different things. They are free. Search for free photos. So you would type in, let's type in key again, and let's see what we find. Okay, so there's a key. There's one on a keyboard. There's one in someone's hand. There's a cool looking silhouette one, because this one is good because you could put like your graphic thing here and it has a person's hand going to the door, so that's kind of cool. And the further down you get here, they do have some clip art that is for sale. And so if you really like this one, for example, you could go buy, well, that one's actually still free. Here's a sign with a big key on it. There's hands with keys. And so you might use this key theme throughout your entire thing, but it would be the same thing. Here is the key and the door. So you would hit this little download button in the bottom here. And let's see if it's going to, we have really slow internet here. And it's giving me a little bit of, there's the say thanks page. So we're going to skip the saying thanks. We're going to go back to our pages and say we want to, let's just keep this graphic over here. And let's go download the one that we just found. So you go to your download thing and let's see, there it is, the one with the hands. So I'm going to just drag it there. And there are different ways to do this on different computers. So you can figure this out. Ask a teenager, how to do all the graphics. Unlocking forgiveness. So, there you are, kind of a different thing. I like this one a lot because it has the, I really like it because it's got the hand on there. Let's make the wording a little bit bigger. Now that wording doesn't show as much on that, so there's ways to make that stick out a little bit better. I'll show you that real quick if you want to see. What I do is just take say I like unlocking forgiveness, but it doesn't really pop very good here. This down here, we could turn all that to black. Let's just do that. So that's black. So that shows real good. But here we got black and white. So if you want to, how do we make that look a little better? You just simply get a box. Let's just put a big box right here. And we're going to put that across there. We're going to make sure that it's not pushing things out of the way. And then we're going to take that box and move it backwards. Okay. So now the unlocking forgiveness pops a lot, but you also kind of blocked out some of your stuff. So you can take that box and under the style button, you can deal with the opacity of it and you can make it lighter. So it still shows the door. You see how we see all the door there, and we have all of that. Now on a Mac, the way to turn that into a graphic that you can paste somewhere is the Shift and Command and the number 4 key, and I can drag over this and I can make a little box there, and it's just going to cut that particular thing out and make its own graphic out of it. And what I do is then I would call this would open it up. Well, here, let me get the name to it first. It saves it as what's called a screenshot, but I would put it key and hand graphic. All right. So there's my key and hand graphic, and now I can drag that into an email. So I want to email all my church people. And we're getting a little ahead. This is kind of the promo side of things, but if we want to make a new message, and we're going to send it to my friend named Don, and I say, here's the graphic, and so, or I'm inviting you, and then what I'm going to do is just simply attach it as a, you probably know how to do all this in your email program, but I'm going to attach this in an email, and then I would just simply say, looking forward to having you at church, blah, 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 and I would go boom, and I would send that off, okay? So not going to do that. Going to go back to where we were back in our Safari stuff. So anyway, this is the Pexels page. All right, go back to here, just kind of their opening page, Pexels. Got a bunch of these screens here. Let me close those. There you go. So Pexels, free stuff. The other one, Unsplash, is free. The other one, Google Images is free. Now, let me go back to, and I want to make sure that you see me here because I want to talk to you just a little bit more about this. Get back on full screen here for you. You want, if you're going to have people come to church, you want them to be there. You want them to know what's going on. So I think that's a given. This whole idea of promoting stuff is something that a lot of churches and pastors aren't trained much in, but I'll just kind of give you some hints. The better you do it, the better off you'll be. I mean, it's not all about that. Obviously, you got to pray and preach and love people and visit and all that. But you want to visit people, you want to talk to them, but then you could hand them something. And, like this one here, and we've showed this one the last few times, you can print this up on a piece of paper and just hand it to them. And then they're going to see it at the store. They're going to see it, the poster at the storefront. They're going to see it in the bulletin. And the idea is that you get them to see this multiple times. And when people see it multiple times, it's reinforced in their mind. And so there's a marketing rule out there, and marketing, they say if a person sees an image 7 times, they're going to grab hold of it much better. So if you get invited to an Easter service at my church, I'm going to try to get you seven different times, 7 different ways. So let me tell you what some of those would be, okay? And on the marketing and the promo side, we'll talk a little bit more about this because we're kind of running out of time on this. But the 7 impressions, okay, your bulletin and your sermon notes could have that graphic, could have a little key in it. You have screens at your church, that make announcements. You could have that little graphic we just created. You can create posters and flyers, kind of like the posters I have behind me, or flyers kind of like this. If you make a flyer like this and cut it out and stick that on your bulletin boards at your grocery stores, you'll get all sorts of people know what's going on. You can print up little 3x5 business cards that have a sermon series on them, bigger cards that have sermon series information. You can do a visual aid. So if you were speaking, you'd want to maybe go to Hobby Lobby and get a key, like about that big, made out of wood, and then you could hold it up and say, key number 1, I want you to get the key, and you might even print something on there. The key to forgiveness is, boom, and you're going to talk about it. Then there's going to be all the digital stuff, which would be Facebook and Facebook ads and things along that line, and then obviously like a web page or emailing or texting. So those are 7, actually more than 7. You're also going to want to make your graphic, like this is... this graphic here is obviously a wide graphic. You want to make it so that you can have your graphic taller, okay, because taller is how phones view things. Phones view things this way, computers view things this way, all right? In a television screen or something at your church, it's this way. Lots of times bulletins are this way, but there are many places where you want to have it taller. So you want to kind of take that graphic. We made one that was a little bit taller, but if we were to go back, we would just simply, and I can go to it, real quickly. We go back to this particular graphic here, and you can make it wider, just by, let's just kind of take that and kind of get rid of it for right now, and maybe move, some of this down here so we get some of that width there. And then what we're going to do, and I'll just cut it out of here for you real quick, is we would make it, wide like this. It's kind of wide. And let me just put it on a new page so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now we have a wide graphic with the exact same thing. So you're going to want to, have wide graphics and tall graphics. So anyway, I want to go through that demo with you and show you on music, just real quick. What we try to do with the music to unify it there is we pick a theme song, and I do not have a song for Unlocking Forgiveness. But say you're going to use a song like an old hymn like Living for Jesus, okay? Jesus was forgiving. Maybe all your sermons are, come out of the gospel to deal with forgiveness. You might do Living for Jesus. What we do is we try to unify it when we're doing a series, is we try to play like the song Living for Jesus in maybe a choir format or a chorale or, quartets or whatever, where it's done really well song, and we play that as a prelude, and people kind of hear it when they come in, they hear it when they leave. We also like to find Living for Jesus as an instrumental so that they can hear it, like maybe when you're doing handshaking time or people are kind of milling around for different things, they can hear that as well. Then we like to sing the song, okay, so that they hear it, and then we like to go through each of the verses and explain what they mean, before we sing it as a hymn. And then one other little bonus thing you can do is you can find a really nice rendition of Living for Jesus on your phone, like on YouTube somewhere, and you can send them a link to Living for Jesus. So what you've done is you've unified the whole thing, and you've tied in that whole thing like, hey, we're going to be living for Jesus as we are unlocking these keys to forgiveness. So I hope that is helpful for you. This one a little bit longer. Next week, we're going to talk about some promotion stuff. You will enjoy that a lot. We'll get deeper into all of those things that I went through very quickly. And then our last one, again, the idea of stretching the sermon, how to make your sermon have stick in people's minds for a long time and really go. So if you did not get the sermon series planner, this kind of goes through everything I'm talking about here. It's all in the sermon series planner, and you can find that at reachkeep.com/planner. And that is free of charge for you, and it'll be a great help to you. But and if you're on our podcast today, you didn't get to see any of those graphics, I am sorry. Make sure you go over, subscribe to us on YouTube, and make sure that you share and give us a thumbs up. I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, please share it with a friend. We love you guys, and thanks for being with us today at the Better Sundays podcast at reachkeep.com.